All right, so let me try to get this out the way, which is going to be this Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the reunion part two. Okay, so we start off where we left off. Remember, we got the husbands joining us here on this part two. It was kind of like a introduction into part one and into part two, which was a little different because normally we do the husbands at the end, but it's cool. We got them now because we remember they were very interactive this season. Okay, so watch your tone. Okay, that whole thing between Todd and John was pretty much uh it fizzled out really quickly. um but Todd was just, his whole point was just the bringing up of Todd on Lisa's end was just wrong, right? So yeah, Andy stops that all with the, yeah, this is a friendly environment, blah 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 blah. So Lisa at this point jumps in to say that she understands that it was hurtful for what she said, and she had already apologized. She don't want to apologize again. Like, how many times she got to do this? Um, she says, you know, when you say stuff on camera, it's gonna live on camera. Whether this was in regards to Bronwyn technically bringing it, whatever conversation that she had with her when they were in the spa cheers sitting, you know what I'm saying? In that aspect, okay, yeah, because Bronwyn did whoop, whoop, and we was on camera, so hey, it's on there. It said it's done. But what she did on the side, okay, so that was Lisa's little rant. Andy, you know, he commends Todd just to say how, you know, it was good that, well, he liked to see how Todd was so protective of Gwen. And because as a stepfather, you know, we don't, not a lot of people get those stories with the stepdads and the, you know, the daughters and or sons and how the interaction works. But Todd is actually doing his job as he's supposed to as a man. So kudos to him. Okay, so first question is, Angie, why didn't you hold Meredith accountable for the gay rumors when, oh, excuse me, all she said were the rumors, but never holding Whitney accountable for hooking up with Monica and having Monica spill the tea? Okay. So Angie says, you know, basically she can move on from it. Um, she didn't have confirmation as to what was true or what was not at in the instance. Okay, when this happened, because we got to go back to not last season, but the season before that, the one with Monica, right? Was that last season? I can't even remember. But either way, ooh, look, I done lost my spot on my page. Either way, rumors, accountability. Whitney or Angie just didn't have the proof, so she's going to take Meredith's word for what Meredith said, which Meredith said that she didn't start the rumors. It wasn't her. So this is where Meredith pipes in, and she goes on to say that she spent 2 years, that Angie has spent 2 years accusing her of something that she didn't do. So this whole back and forth kind of starts just a little bit because Meredith was trying to say that, you know, Angie was the one who came after me. She's the one who talked about my business and my home and my marriage. I didn't do nothing like that. So Sean speaks up to say, well, weren't you the one that said something about, weren't you the one that said something about the homes or something like that? And Meredith was like, well, no, I mentioned, um, I don't know if it was Angie, if it was Monica, if it was collective group members, but you know how we joke about the houses, who's renting and who's buying, right? Meredith rents, which when you on a Housewives show, renting is not like, you know, like the ones who have a house that they bought, they look at the renters a little bit like, So the comments that Angie made or Monica, whoever, said about her renting her homes in Park City or whatever, that little comment, or was that Mary? Either way, it was shady, and that's what Meredith was talking about. So Andy just had to say, like, well, I mean, do you rent? And she said, well, yeah, because I only live here for half the year, so I do rent my little ski lodge or whatever you want to call the type of house. And because, you know, I live in New York the other half the time, so who cares? Andy agreed, said, okay, that's fine, girl. You didn't have to make such a big deal about it. It was just on Meredith's side, it was how she said it, right? Because it was to be shady, which it was, because you ain't Salt Lake City proper. Next question. This is addressed to Meredith. So, Meredith, why did you expect an apology from Sean when you were the one that leveraged Brooke's sexuality so that you wouldn't receive negative scrutiny for um, the false allegations that you said against Sean? So Meredith said, well, I mean, obviously that's impossible because I didn't make any accusations. And she didn't believe them in the first place, right? And this was the rumors and the nastiness of the husband. See, this beef that they going into now is all from like 2 seasons ago or last season. I just can't remember, but yeah, from the rumors and the nastiness. This is where it all comes from. And which we're going to break it down just a tad because Monica somehow worked her way into this. But of course, Angie had to say, okay, well, listen, yeah, the whole world pretty much can see that what you did, wasn't right and that Sean was vindicated, should we say, like in what he was saying. So Andy kind of pops up in here just a little bit because he just wanted to address the issue of being on a podcast because the way that the guy, I don't even know the podcast name guy was. I don't know if it was up for Adam, but the way he spent the question for Sean was leading. Okay. So it was expected for Sean to slip up and say something malicious, not knowing that he did that. You know what I'm saying? So with that, of course, Sean would agree and just be like, wow, it was no disrespect on my end. I'm cool with Brooks and all that stuff. I thought it came from the beef, should we say, and the rumors or whatever. The beef starts with the rumor. He thought it came from Monica. So he was feeling in that moment from when he was speaking on what he spoke on, it was like a backpedal on Meredith's part, right? So for him, I don't know you, Meredith, too well. We're not friends like that. So I don't know if I trust your word if I don't. We never had that chance, that encounter with each other for me to take whatever you say to me as verbatim or take your word for, like how am I supposed to believe you or not believe you? But he says, but him thinking that the Monica was involved was very much true because Meredith comes in to say that, hey, well, Angie is the one that told me at the Easter event or the ski event, okay, one of those events, that Meredith never said it. She didn't do it, okay? So here, Angie says, well, it was Monica who told her that Meredith was the ones who started the rumors about Sean. So she believed it because, I mean, where else am I supposed to do, right? Somebody told me something, so I said, okay. Andy was saying, okay, he hearing from his ear, the control room backs up the claims that what Angie is saying. Yep, we got that on tape. Monica's the one who said it. Okay, so good. Angie's been vindicated. Sean's been vindicated. But Meredith was like, well, no, because Monica said to me that what she said that Monica told her that she didn't do it? Yeah. So with this, Andy tries to interrupt again to say, okay, well, Monica is not a reliable source here, so why would you, Meredith, believe anything that she said in the first place, right? So whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, a little bit back and forth because Heather kind of chimed in. I think a couple of the ladies, the voices was getting there. And Meredith just finally said that, look, I didn't come here for this. This is not the reason I came here. I'm going to leave. And now she gets up and she's like, I'm over this. I'm not going to take this. I need to be vindicated. And I need you guys to roll the tape to show that I didn't say those things, and Monica said those things, and woo. So of course they did roll the tape, but it was more of Andy saying, okay, hold on. Let me get the confirm in the ear. Yes. We have it on tape. Monica said to Angie that Meredith said the rumors, while they were at the party. Was it a birthday party for Angie's house? Something like that. But either way, Monica said this to Angie, okay? And then oh, sometime later at a different party, which might have been the ski event, she said it on camera that Meredith is not the one who bought it up. Woo! You see that, Meredith? You hear it? I got you. I'm agreeing with you. So finally, Meredith calms down and she says, all right. But, but this isn't done, should we say, in her mind, I guess. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit because that little first piece, it probably took me a good 30 minutes just to get that back and forth just together, okay? So forgive me, guys, trying to, because the back and forth, I'm telling you, especially when it comes to Meredith, because she just be talking and you be like, oh my God, what the are you saying, child? But anyway, Justin versus John. So we're going to shift gears just a tad. Since we got the husbands out, we might as well use them, right? So Andy asks, when you watched the tape of the fight at the Mob Wives party, did it happen the way that you guys, did it play out the way you thought it did? So of course John speaks first. He says that he was embarrassed once he watched it back. And so if you remember from the fight, it was kind of like it came in two parts, right? The first one was the approach to say, okay, leave my wife alone. She doing a little too much, reel it back. And then the second approach was, okay, now you need to back your butt up because this, you getting a little rowdy up in my face, okay? Because that's when once Lisa got a little loud, and that's when Justin kind of piped up a little bit more. Because John was the one that piped up first, thinking that Justin was all up in Lisa's face. But so the first reaction was kind of like, okay, we bumped. What's going on? Second reaction was like a little bit more aggressive, like we was really about to throw the bows, right? So John, like you say, was a little embarrassed that they was getting it was going to that level, because really he was just trying to diffuse the situation. So he apologized to Justin for that. Justin on his end, he said, yeah, on his end, I think on the first reaction, he was like, okay, yeah, I meant to be aggressive with that because it was John who kind of bumped up to him a little bit. But when the second reaction came from when Lisa jumped in his face, then it was like, that's when he had to kind of take a step back to say, right, is we really doing this? Like, is this real? Are we about to go, John? Or is we just like, what is we doing? So he apologized to Lisa for that because, right, understandable. It was kind of a lot going on in that situation, in that moment, right? So cool, they're cool. Andy asked Whitney, did she revealed Lisa and John, the threesome comment. Pretty much, oh Lord, I'm sorry. Okay, now I got it. My bad, y'all. I'm so sorry. So Andy was asking John about the Whitney comment that Lisa and John had threesomes, right? So Andy asked John, has he ever heard that before? Of course, John said never. No, not me. So Andy says, well, Angie, what about you and Sean? When you heard about that, when Lisa said that Sean does circle jerks, what was your reaction to that? And Lisa was like, well, I said it just to be mean. Well, yeah, this was addressed to Lisa, okay? So Lisa admitted, I only said that just to be mean because I wanted Angie to feel how I felt in the moment because I was the one being attacked, okay? And I believe in the message that Whitney had wrote with that comment, it was between Angie and Whitney. So it was kind of like, well, if he was over there talking mess about me, well, then what if she would have said this about you? You know, like that kind of situation. So Whitney steps up to say, well, she just apologized. You know, I'm sorry, John. This is actually her first time that they can actually sit and talk this out. So she's sorry. She just wanted to burn that whole situation because it all started way back when about the Utah tickets. So that attachment to her and negative comments about Lisa's and John's marriage, she just wanted to let it go, burn it, boop boop, be done, move on. Okay, so Lisa and John accept it. Angie, on the other hand, she just felt that those comments were pretty reckless, and I believed she got trolled a lot on the internet. You know, the comments. Her daughter as well has gotten some of the things. You know, I believe most of these kids are high school, middle school, high school, college, right? So they watch TV, they got phones, they friends, they know, right? So Lisa and Heather kind of piped in just a little bit just to be like, girl, I mean, but you be doing the same thing because you got a lot of Twitter fingers too, right? So we all say stuff and this and that and go back and forth, whether it was real low or not low. Okay, let's agree to disagree. And this was probably, because I can't, yeah, this was probably one of the second or third instances where Andy was just kind of over the Angie and Lisa back and forth. Like, you got them sitting right in between you. I don't even know why. You should have put them on the end, and then that way they wouldn't have to be all up in your ear. But there was a lot of Bezos, Opa to go on just so that they can shut up. Okay, so we'll switch gears just a little bit. We'll go back to Todd and to Bronwyn because a lot of the viewers felt that Todd was reprimanding Bronwyn a little bit, like a parent to child versus a husband to wife. And Heather kind of steps up in this instant just to say that you know, what was Heather's reaction, right? I guess because she was the most vocal, I guess, about it out of all the other girls. For some reason, it hit her as if she was in this situation herself with her old marriage. Not to say like the exact same situation, but just the feelings of not being seen, not being heard, not be appreciated, cheating, infidelity, woo, that all these things that a husband can do to a wife to demean her, diminish her as a woman, blah, 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 blah. So in that aspect, that's what Heather was like, oh my God, I sympathize with you because it's just what I went through and I got out of it and I want you to be happy, you know, those type of things, right? So they show unseen footage where Todd and Heather actually had a talk because, you know, obviously Heather was thinking that he was just some old brute controlling old man, right? But once she got to know him, then she saw that, okay, he's not so bad, you know. And Angie pipes up to say, well, yeah, I've seen Todd outside of the camera life, outside of this show. I think they might have been neighbors or something. I don't know, but they're close around the area. So I run into him and he's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with Todd. I like him. Okay, cool. Okay, Andy to Justin. Why didn't you stick up for Whitney after seeing Steph call her a biatch at that dinner table when they were kind of going back and forth about Sean and all the podcasts and da 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 da. So Justin said that in that particular moment of that day or whatever, you know, he just wasn't really thinking. Like he had a good day. They was on vacation, you know, he was in good spirits. His mind wasn't even on having an argument or anything like that. Pretty much his head was in the clouds. But, you know, he did watch it back and he saw that, okay, dang, he saw it back. He caught the shade from him, and he said, okay, I noticed it then. So I wish I probably should have stepped up a little bit. And Seth goes on to apologize and say he was sorry. It was a bit aggressive. They've been drinking all day. When they got to the table, remember, they were arguing. It was kind of a build up of a whole bunch of things that they were going through with the Sean and the marriage and all this stuff. So it just kind of just came out that way. But he didn't mean any ill will, so to speak, to say like, oh, well, I mean, if I was walking down the street and I saw John, I would say, hey, what up, biatch? So and he kind of got a side eye from that just a tad because, like you said, it's no excuse for name calling. And Whitney says, I mean, but you ain't had to say it to me like that. Like, why you say it to me like that though? So Meredith butts in and say, because you was inserting yourself into business that just wasn't yours. Okay. And Seth was like, okay, listen, it wasn't intended to be that way. I'm sorry. But it wasn't like the way Angie came and called my wife a bitch, because she said it twice since we've been up here. And they go back and forth just a little bit, Meredith and Angie, because, Angie was a bit taken back, like her stunned face. That Angie stunned face, yeah. And something about being an abuser. Did Meredith call Angie an abuser? Girl. Okay, so Andy asked Todd about his reaction to watching Bronwyn share their emotional affair that happened in their relationship, at whatever point in time. While it was in Mexico, right? So Todd says, okay, I didn't actually watch it, but Bronwyn says we did talk about it. So, he knows what they talking about. And Todd just pretty much says that, I mean, hey, anything that she shares, I don't want her to share half the things she be sharing, okay? But hey, she does it. So I got a deal. So Todd asks, only emotional? And Todd didn't say anything, but Bronwyn says yes. And not really, it wasn't really an emotional affair, so to speak. She just says that, he has a lot of people in his life that he has conversations with, right? And some of those conversations that she's seen might have just went too far in her eyes. So that's what she will be referring to, okay? And Heather kind of pipes in here because she was just, this is a little bit confusing now because you were just crying with us and you said all these things that Todd did, about being disloyal, being the affairs. And I rallied for you like I had your back 100% because, girl, I felt the same, this and this and that. Like, did he do it or did he not do it? Because, Heather, she don't really see it for Todd like that. But that's just Heather in her opinion. She's a bit judgmental. Heather is. And Brahman just says that, yeah, I just think that the conversation that he had with somebody, a woman, whatever, was too far. And it didn't happen when I told y'all this on the boat. It wasn't like a real time situation. It was more of me just trying to explain to y'all how y'all make me feel in the group like I'm not good enough for y'all to be friends with y'all like that. So it brings up all these feelings about how I'm not good enough in my whole life. Like that's just one of her issues that she deals with, right? Like Angie deals with the having a mama. Heather deals with not wanting to be a Mormon no more. Like everybody got their thing, right? And part of that not feeling good enough, would be whatever Todd has done to make her feel such a way. Okay. So here's where Lisa pipes in to say, well, this is a bit confusing because I got held accountable for basically saying, or for not saying F Todd. I didn't rally on your side, and I watched the tape back and I saw you and you and you and you talking about me, and saying that maybe I can relate because I've been a cheater in my past. Like, no, this ain't right. This is not. So Bronwyn says, yes, we talked it through with her husband once we get past the Lisa talk, because Lisa did try it. I mean, she did. You and Meredith was talking mess. Okay, fine. I mean, y'all they wasn't talking mess, but you weren't. If you were supposed to be Bronwyn's friend, as she claims that she wanted you to be so understanding of her feelings and those things, when she said that in that moment, you probably should have said, "Oh well, listen to me, Bronwyn," instead of, "Oh well, I mean, what did she do?" Like that. That's the miscommunication that Lisa has all the time. It's the emotional part. She doesn't have that emotional something is missing. Um and I think once Lisa opens up about her past, because we don't really know that much about her life, right? I think we will get to know her. We will understand it. So next season, Lisa, you get on here and you talk about your 5 brothers and sisters and who raised you and who didn't. And maybe we'll get to understand it. Okay, so this is why they have to act like this, because she didn't have that. Okay. So we get through that little back and forth. Um, because of course Meredith was kind of involved in that situation as well. But Bronwyn does let the people know that, yeah, once we figured it all out between her and Todd, he gifted her a 5 diamond gift, which, 5 diamonds represent for each of the 5 things that he promised to do for her. Something about transparency, caring for Gwen, and fidelity. I don't know, maybe trust and love, something of that nature. You guys watch it back. I might have not wrote all of them. But yeah, I didn't write all of them. But either way, she got it. Andy asks. Oh, this was when Andy brought up Meredith to say how she was upset with Whitney and Angie because it made it seem like Lisa and her were both cheaters and having affairs or something on the side. And of course, Meredith told Bronwyn that her intentions were to be supportive of her. So she just didn't understand how they was going behind her back to say those malicious things about her when that's not what she had. That's not what she was thinking or intended at all, right? So of course, Bronwyn lets them know that, yeah, at that moment after the boat, she was upset. So that's how those things came out. She was very vulnerable, and she did come to them the next day to air out her grievances, which we saw, and then she brought it back to I think Lisa brought it back to the table to let Whitney and Angie know that she had resolved whatever issues that she had from that previous night. And they show us some unseen footage of Meredith and Bronwyn having a one-on-one to talk it out. Okay. So yeah. So she talked to her. Heather, that's not what happened. It is. Okay, because somebody says something. Okay, whatever. But either way, Bronwyn, Meredith did have their little talk on the side, but for some reason I think Meredith thought maybe that conversation wasn't what it was. I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Like Meredith, like she takes things. Maybe she only hears what she wants to hear. I'm not sure, but her and Bronwyn still have a kind of miscommunication when it comes to that aspect. But hey, nobody really thinks that you're cheating on your husband. At least I don't. I mean, I don't know what y'all be doing, but it was more of a, and it was more of Whitney and Angie saying it. Okay, to be honest, it really wasn't Bronwyn. Okay, so Andy asked Todd. Yeah, Andy asked Todd, how did he feel about Gwen being the one that caught him, doing all the cheating stuff? Um, Todd was actually kind of speechless in this moment. He just said that it was pretty much all of everything that they've discussed on camera was very difficult for him. And I think anything that comes to Gwen for him is really, really touchy feely for him. So that's kind of how he got a little speechless in that moment. And of course, Brown and his wife, oh, it's okay, girl. It's okay, husband. I got you. Okay. So, we move on a little bit because Andy asked Angie, like, you said that you knew Bronwyn more, or that you know Bronwyn more now that she opened up to you guys about Todd and her daughter and things of that nature. More than that you know Lisa. So how do you feel about that? Is that true? And is it because that Lisa only opens up about safe topics? So that's why I never really go deep. And Angie just tries to answer. What should I say? She starts to answer to say that Bronwyn, uh, I guess, and after being in the moment and after watching it back, she, right, was feeling bad for Bronwyn. She felt her in the moment. Bronwyn was being open, expressing. So how could she not, feel her, see her, you know, comfort her, like as a friend should do. Even if I'm not really a friend, but we're girls and you're sharing, like we're supposed to be support. So that's what I did, right? Lisa jumps in and say, "Oh, well, this and that and that and then like this, and this and that." So of course, Andy's like, "Okay, we got to move on." Andy to Meredith, is it okay for you to judge Bronwyn's relationship, I guess, when Seth wants to motorboat Whitney? Hmm. And Meredith was laughing. I think everybody was laughing because, okay, it's more of a joke. I never spoke out bad about Bronwyn's marriage. Actually, I just said it was different from mine's. That was it. And we showed the tape. Seth actually did get to motorboat some boobs that were Whitney's, but it was in a cake form. So, I mean, he still got his wish. Andy to Lisa. Lisa, what was your reaction to hearing Todd call Vita Tequila mediocre? And Lisa was like, "Oh, ha ha ha, whatever. I will give Todd a tequila training course so he could taste all the tequilas all around. So he can see that mine is the best all around the world." Woo-hoo. And Todd was like, "Sure. I mean, I'll take it up on your offer." Hey, no sweat. So Andy asked Meredith about the status of her and Steph's relationship. Um, Meredith says, "Hey, me and Steph are good. We're monogamous. We got our ups and downs just like everybody else. Like we're straight." Steph jumps in to say, "Yeah, I mean, we couldn't be better." My commute, because he travels for work, as we all know, it actually kind of helps keep things spicy, because it's always like we're meeting each other or dating each other. So we're cool with it. And Todd kind of pipes in here just a tad because he was just letting everybody know that, hey, I'm a working man. I understand. I travel and things of that nature. So I get it. And Bronwyn, she does her little thing with her job. So sometimes we're not always together, but we still together. Andy to Seth, do you have a side chick in Ohio? And everybody was like laughing, laughing, laughing. Ha ha ha. Seth like, "No, I don't. Goodness gracious." And then there's, a couple jokes like, "Well, maybe I got two. I don't know." But funny. And this is the mark of the show where we are going to say goodbye to the husbands, let them exit stage left, and we'll take a quick break. And here, while everybody was moving around and adjusting things, we can see Bronwyn under her breath to Todd to say, like, "Yeah, see, we got to talk to that John over there because that tone stuff, we got to address it." So I don't know when we're going to get that, but we're going to get that. Okay, so oh my gosh, my energy low, guys. I'm so sorry. Either way, we're gonna get a little bit low now because we gotta go talk to Mary about this Robert Jr. situation. Okay. Andy says, "Hey, you're gonna got a lot of support from the viewers. Do you feel the love?" Of course, she says yes. Her mission was accomplished. So and Andy's like, "Well, what was that mission?" And she just goes on to say that her and Robert Jr. came together and they decided that we're going to talk and we're going to be honest and be open, and it's going to help him, and helping him is going to help others. So Andy asks, what about the conversation hit you the most? Mary says, all of it. Because she didn't know pretty much any of it. And, it's very shocking to hear. Andy says, do you take him? Oh, you said you took him to rehab, right? So for how long? Um, did he want to go? Mary says he wanted to go and he was open to it. Um, she feels that the conversation that she had was uh, the cry for help, that he, wanted to change, a sign that he wanted to change. Andy says, well, how long was he there? Mary says he was there for 30 days. Andy says, life after rehab, how is it going? Mary says it's very good. She still worries, he has to change up some things in his life, like some friends and, things, routine, stuff like that. Andy says, has he done that? Mary says, yes, he's done some of it. I would imagine he should have asked, is he still with the wife/girlfriend/wife? Because I will have a feeling that she might have a slight major factor in this. Okay, I'm not gonna say, but he should have asked that. But she just goes on to say that, yeah, he's doing a little better, changing up some things. He stays home with her. So he's just around her more, which is good. And Andy says the emotional support from sober people, is he getting, help from other people outside of his friends, Mary says yes, there are people that he met in rehab, and he goes to AA meetings, which might be NA meetings, because Alcohol Anonymous is AA, Narcotics Anonymous will be NA. Andy asks, hearing him say, well, Andy didn't ask this, but he says they hear him say that he felt like a stain was really, really tough to hear as a mom. And this is where, everybody's pretty much crying. I would say that almost everybody. Meredith really didn't shed too much. I didn't see. Lisa, she had a couple drops. Bronwyn, she might have had a couple. But Andy was really feeling it, And Mary just goes on to say that obviously it's just something that she doesn't want to hear. I mean, as a mom, nobody wants to hear that from their kid. Like, I'm a mom, right? My son will break me down if he says some stuff like that. Like, oh, you seasoned chicken, baby. I got some seasoned salt. You need me to help you? Either way, Robert Jr. is everything to her. Those were his feelings. They were valid. And she just, has to convince him otherwise, that he's beautiful, smart, he's worthy. And she sees that people can be their own worst critics, right? And that's just something that she's learning through Robert Jr., and Andy goes on to say that, we kind of notice that you beat yourself up a little bit about it. Like, you kind of say it's your fault. And Mary just goes on to say that, as a mom, you want to give your kids the world. She just don't know what she missed, so maybe she does blame herself, because how did she not see it, Everybody has their own journeys in their lives, and this is just this is Robert Jr.'s journey, and they're gonna work through it and get through it. So Andy asks, how about Robert Sr.? Where's his reaction? Because obviously he's not here, and he don't want to be on TV like that. He just like to, Robert Sr. just stay to himself, cool. That's his prerogative, and nobody bothering that man. But she says that, Robert Sr., he felt broken, but he's remained strong. He's commended her on being a good mom, that he loves her. She's beautiful. And he's very proud of her, the good things that a husband should say. And Andy just goes on to tell her that, hey, it's a great testament for you and your son to the world. Um, and we're happy for it, you know. Lisa goes on to say how she thinks Robert's a great boy and that Mary's a good mom. Um, Angie goes on to say that, people, we've just been waiting for so long to see this side of Mary, which is true because when we first met Mary, it just wasn't, she wasn't the best. Like, she was probably the least liked out of the whole cast on that first season because, girl, the delusion, I don't even know what, loopy. Okay, that's the word I'm going to describe. She was very loopy and contradictory, contradictory, contra, nah, problematic. She was very problematic as well, but she's better these days. Heather expresses her thanks as well to Mary for opening up and says how amazing she is because she got to. It's something else she gets to talk to her daughters about. Um, and Mary just goes on to say how that's her. She's made sure that as a mom, she made sure that her and her son can always have that relationship with open dialogue. So it does help with that communication for him to open up. Andy asks, what does it mean to you that he asked Angie, what does it mean to you that Mary opened up to her? And Angie, of course, will say that she's honored, like this is the Mary that she gets to see every day and talk to, and that she's finally glad that everybody gets to see her. Andy asked her, the fact that she went through addiction problems with her mom, which I think was alcohol, not necessarily drugs. Would that be, would that play into the factor of y'all friendship, bring y'all closer? And Andrew was just saying like, not necessarily, because it's two different situations to where she was a kid and her mom was in this. So as a kid, you can't really help her. Versus, and her mom didn't want to get help, versus Robert Jr., who decided that he wanted this help and accepted and received it from his mom. And she said that, it's something that Mary said to her that nobody's ever said to her, which was, if her mom was here, if her mom can go back and change that that whole situation about herself and make her family better and things like that, that she would, and that's, she just appreciates, it's like the little things that she just appreciates from Mary. She always got the right thing to say at the right time. Okay, so Whitney was sitting over there because when they did bring up, was it Heather? I think it was Heather or somebody who said, we've been waiting so long for somebody to open up about drugs. And I was like, wait a minute. Rewind, because if I recall, Whitney's daddy was on that shit. Okay. Season 1, remember him with that haircut? Because he was a hairdresser. And Whitney tried and he denied. Okay. So I was a little bit confused on how that slipped through the whoever slipped that out their lips. Maybe they wasn't here. I don't know. But maybe they wasn't here. But Whitney does express, this is where everybody's crying. But, her kids, it's hard for kids to understand things, right? And I believe season 1, Whitney's kids were below the 10-year-old mark, which, young. So they didn't understand why grandpa here, not here, why grandpa act this way, stuff like that. But watching it back to see somebody a little bit maybe closer to their age who has experienced some ups and downs with some substances helps them to understand, like, oh, so that's why grandpa be acting like that. Okay. So, and it took a long time for Whitney to get back. If we watched the whole rest of the reunion, they had to keep giving her a napkin because uh it opened a can of worms for her, and I felt that Andy should have saved, like, some stuff should be saved for a larger topic, right? I know we got to go through it, but I think we just kind of forgot about her when it came to this. So I think that's why it hit her so hard. And also, luckily Andy did ask this, was when was the last time you talked to your dad? She hasn't talked to her dad since season 1. That's like that makes it even worse. Like I said, she was, yeah, this took Whitney out for sure. Cause like I said, she was in there. Every clip they showed her, the rest of the reunion, she was still going at it. Like, oh, poor Whitney. Somebody call Daddy Whitney. I can't even remember your name, but get your life together, sir. You got kids out here. I think it's Whitney and her brother or something like that. Yeah, and you got grandkids. You need to go and see about your peoples, okay? Daddy Whitney, get it together. Put the pipe down. It might be meth or something, y'all. Heroin or meth, white people. Maybe a little crack. Put it down, sir. So, is anybody in the group surprised by Heather? Nope. By Angie and Meredith's? Nope. Angie and Mary's friendship. See these names. Sorry, guys. Uh Nobody wanted to kind of speak up at this. I thought Lisa would say something, but Lisa ain't Mary's friend. So, but Heather kind of speaks up in this instance just to say that um it was a bit surprising, just a tad, because Mary's so closed off, and her relationship with Mary is pretty up and down. Like, they can't never really sit on the same page all the time. But since she's been friends with Angie, she's noticed that it's helped Mary to open up a little bit and to help her, interact with the other ladies a little bit more, and her walls are coming down. So it's more of a surprise, but glad at the same time. So Andy asked Mary about her renovations on the church, which I didn't even know she was. Did she even mention her church at all on the dang show? I don't remember it, but that's apparently she tore some stuff down to rebuild it up, and they are on their way to reopen, and they're being blessed and all that good stuff. Okay, so how does the tampon trick work to keep you from having to urinate? This is what Andy asked Mary. Uh, because like I said, this is the loopy of Mary, the loop. Okay. She just said, "Hey, I don't know, but it works." The other girls say, "Hey, I tried it. It works." I think they might have Googled it. It checks out. Try it if y'all want to. I never personally have. Maybe I will though, because sometimes I'll be out and I do be having to use the bathroom. You don't be wanting to have to. Yep. So we might try. I don't know. So Meredith, or not Meredith, Mary, you were very different this season. This is Andy talking to Mary. Like, what's going on with you? What happened? What is it? You're a bit lighter. You're a little bit more engaged. Like, and Mary just says, well, I mean, I think it's just because she found a good friend in Angie, and that's helping her, I guess, to help manage her way through these ladies in a different way that she did before. Okay. Andy was like, "Well, look, I don't want to start nothing, but wasn't Meredith your friend?" And Mary was like, "Yeah, Meredith is my friend. Her friendship with me is very different from my friendship with Angie. Um, Meredith works a lot, travels a lot, very busy lady. So I think it's just their schedulings have just kind of got, the paths hasn't crossed. And versus Andrew's were just a little bit more available for her, but they're still friends and they still love each other." So Meredith does speak up here a little bit just to tell her that, she does wish that she could have been more there for her. But she loves her as well and support her whenever she needed. So is Meredith jealous of Angie's and Mary's new friendship? Meredith says no, sorry, not even. Andy says, well, Mary and Meredith's friendship, y'all had that little fight at the breakfast at Tiffany brunch. Did you notice the breakdown in your friendship there? And Meredith goes on to say that uh, it wasn't necessarily a breakdown between the two, but it was just more like it was a lot going on both ends. So, but at that instance or that moment or that day of the brunch, she just kind of felt attacked in that moment, okay? Andy asked Mary if she wanted Meredith to leave after those dang bangs that she had on her dang forehead. They kind of was like this. Like, they went down there, though. They was like that. Mary said, no, no, she could have still came or whatever. But it was more like, I mean, but the bangs was bad, girl. Like, oof, mm-mm. And Meredith was like, yeah, I mean, that's okay. I could take that. It's just what I can't take is what all these girls are saying behind my back. That is the problem. And Andy was like, well, like what? What you mean? So Meredith goes on ahead. She pulls out her phone and she goes on a list to say, I've been called a drug addict, bulimic, homeless, a cheater, mentally unstable, next level psychotic dissociation, multiple personality disorder, snitch, liar. My appearance has been questioned. My hearing aid has been talked about. I'm a grudge holder. I'm a whore. I play the victim. My parenting. Whew. The list goes on. And Angie was like, well, I mean, what can you say? Or, I mean, who said what and what? Like, let's list the names to those comments, And wait a minute, but you said some stuff too. So they rolled the tape, and you could see all the stuff that Meredith done said to people were, you're a monster, you're vile, you're this, you're that. So, of course, Meredith in her defense is, well, I've never went this far. I never said this about you. It's always that, well, I never did it as bad as you did. But the point is that you did it. Okay, Meredith, that's the whole point. So I don't know if Andy wanted to start beef with this question or not, but he asked Mary, or Meredith, how did Mary use her for 3 years when she never talked bad about her marriage or her son? And Meredith was just saying that, well, listen, when I said that in the moment, it was because I was heated, I was mad, and that's just how I felt in the moment. Like, I was just disposable or something. And Mary goes on to say, well, I mean, I never used you. I never used nobody in my life. So it's not my character. And I would just appreciate it if you can just say that, we good here, right? And Meredith does say, yeah, no, we good. I'm not using you. You're not using me. I love you. I appreciate you. It was just when we had that disagreement in the moment, I had to go there with you, okay? And, at this moment, this is the end of our part 2 segment. And I can't believe it got this long, but it did because it was a lot of talking. And it probably took me 2 hours just to watch it, just so I can write notes to do the review. So I'm a little sorry for that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. And they make up. They hug it out. And she tells Mary, or Meredith under her breath, hey, you need to go make up with Angie now. That I mean, well, they never really broke up like that all the way, but it is what it is. Like I said, this was long. I'm so sorry. But this was Salt Lake City Girls Reunion Part 2. Oh my goodness. Part 3. Come on. We'll get to bring Brittany out and we'll get some more beef squashing or not. Okay? So thanks for watching. I know it got long. Peace out.